Assalamu alaikum. Today we have a 31st lecture for Business Finance MGT 232. We were studying about the long-term financing. That was in the last two lectures, the bonds and its features, and common stock and preferred stock. Today we will be moving on to the next chapter, that is your working capital management, and we will be looking into the investing decisions of the company. Now let's have a brief overview of our last lecture, what we studied about the preferred and the common stock valuation. Now if we talk about the preferred shares and its features, preferred shares are basically your hybrid security or your mixed security, quasi security it is being said as. The hybrid security means it has some of the features of the bonds and some of the features of the common stock, or we can say some of the features of the debt and equity financing. Now the preferred stock, and it has certain features which include its par value, that is the value at which the preferred stock is being issued. Then it has its certain value of its dividend rate. That means that is a fixed dividend rate, that is the percentage that is set as the percentage that is being set by the corporation at the time of issuing the preferred stock, and the certain changes in that dividend rate and its maturity. Then we have certain other features which include your cumulative dividend feature. When we talk about the cumulative dividend feature, it is basically that feature which generally allows the preferred shareholders to earn dividend which has not been paid before. For example, अगर आपकी कंपनी ने एक कंपनी ने 3 साल तक या 4 साल तक डिविडेंड इशू नहीं किया, और फिर 5वें साल 4 साल तक शेयर्स इशू नहीं किया और डिविडेंड नहीं इशू किया, और 5वें साल में आके कंपनी इज गोइंग टू पे द डिविडेंड, तो दैट मीन्स वो जो 4 साल तक डिविडेंड पे नहीं किया है, तो वो परसेंटेज, क्योंकि उनकी एक डिविडेंड फिक्स्ड डिविडेंड रेशियो होती है, फॉर एग्जांपल 4% ऑफ द इनकम, तो 4% ऑफ द इनकम इन ईयर 1, 4% ऑफ द इनकम इन ईयर 2, 3 एंड 4, उन सब की इनकम निकालेंगे, उन सबको मिला के एक्यूमुलेट करके 5th ईयर के डिविडेंड भी मिलाकर उस डेट पे करेंगे. दैट इज योर क्यूमुलेटिव और एक्यूमुलेटेड डिविडेंड फीचर. Now when we talk about the common shareholders, तो common shareholders को तब तक डिविडेंड नहीं दिया जाएगा जब तक कि आपका cumulative dividend feature preferred stock holders का complete नहीं हो जाता. So that means कि आपका जो cumulative dividend feature है वो allow करता है preferred stock holders को, तो कि unpaid dividend before any dividend is being paid to common shareholder, it is important to pay the cumulative dividend to your preferred shareholders. Then it has a participating feature. When we talk about the participating feature, it is basically that feature which allows the preferred shareholders to get an increase in their dividend only if the common shareholders are getting the increase. For example, the common shareholders are getting the increase of 10% or the 6% or 5%. That increase in the dividend is also been increased in your shareholder. That means कि आप preferred shareholders, that means कि आपके preferred shareholders के पास let's suppose अगर उनको 10 rupees per share मिल रहा है और 6% का increase आया, तो that means कि वो जो 6% का increase है, that 6% would be जो उसकी overall par value होगी शेयर की, उसके ऊपर 6% निकाला. फॉर एग्जांपल अगर 100 रुपीस par value थी आपके preferred shareholders की, उसका 6% निकालो, that is ₹6. तो जितना भी डिविडेंड शेयर होल्डर्स को कॉमन शेयर होल्डर्स को मिलता है ₹6, इस ₹6 से ज्यादा का जितना डिविडेंड, फॉर एग्जांपल कॉमन शेयर होल्डर्स को 10 रुपीस मिल रहा है, तो 6 से जितना भी ज्यादा 4 रुपीस एक्स्ट्रा मिल रहा है, दैट 4 रुपीस विल आल्सो बी बीइंग पेड टू योर par value preferred shareholders. तो preferred shareholders के that is called your participating feature, कि whatever increase is being given to your common shareholders, that is being also paid to your preferred shareholders as well. Then we talk about the voting rights. Now voting rights की जब हम बात करते हैं तो preferred shareholders का मेन फीचर है, या preferred shareholders जब भी बोला जाता है तो क्लियर बात होती है that they does not have any voice in management or they do not have any voting right. So it is very clear that they do not have any voting right. बट आपके जो जब भी आपके ऐसे कोई इशू हो जाता है कि फॉर एग्जांपल देयर आर सर्टेन स्पेशल सिचुएशंस और स्पेशल इश्यूज व्हेन द प्रेफर्ड शेयर होल्डर्स आर अलाउड टू वोट, दे कैन फॉर एग्जांपल the certain special or specific situation would be that the preferred shareholders are not getting enough dividend, or they are not getting the dividend over a specified period of time. For example, it was said that the company is going to pay the dividend within 5 years, and for example company failed to pay that dividend to the preferred shareholders, then in that case the preferred shareholders will nominate some of the directors as from their side and the board of directors, and they'll have the voice in management. They'll definitely going to say in their management, say in the decisions of the organizations, and will focus on giving dividends to the preferred shareholders. So whenever such kind of a situations occur that allow the preferred shareholders, or the company is liable to give the voting rights to the preferred shareholders. Then we have the retirement of the preferred stock. That again means that you are going to retire the preferred shareholders. That is means that you are going to pay the principal amount of the preferred shareholders back to the your stockholders, preferred stockholders. Now, when retirement of preferred stock includes a few of the features. For example, it includes the call provision. That means that you can call the preferred stock at a par value, or at a price a bit higher than your call price or your par value. For example, if the preferred stock is being issued at 100 rupees, you are going to call the preferred stock back to the company by the issuer at rupees 110. That 10 rupees is the extra amount of the call premium that is being paid to your preferred stockholders for calling those specific shares before maturity. So instead of going to the open market and repurchasing all your preferred shareholders, all your preferred shares, and at that specific market price would be expensive and would be difficult as well and costly as well. So it's easy to call the preferred shareholders before the maturity, if in order to retire the bond and retire those preferred shareholders. Now there is another way of retiring the bonds and your preferred shareholders, that is the sinking fund provision. That is also the part of your bonds, and that is also the feature of your preferred shares as well. Now when we talk about the sinking fund of the preferred shares, that means that your preferred share will be provided the par value in certain periodic periods. So certain periodic periods होंगे जिनके अंदर for example अगर इसकी कोई maturity होंगे, infinite time maturity का होता है preferred shares का, infinite time के लिए issue की जाती हैं, तो या हो सकता है किसी specific time के लिए भी issue की जा सकती हैं, but most of the time it is infinite time period. तो उसमें क्या किया जाता है कि आपके जो जितने भी साल coming of years होते हैं, गुजर रहे होते हैं, उनके साथ साथ उनकी कुछ principal amount, for example 10 साल 100 रुपीस का शेयर था, 10 साल के अंदर 10 रुपीस जो है वो प्रिंसिपल अमाउंट के प्रेफर्ड शेयर होल्डर्स को देकर उनको बॉन्ड्स को रिटायर कर दिया. दैट इज योर सिंकिंग फंड प्रोविजन. इसके अलावा आपके बॉन्ड्स जो हैं उनको वो रीपरचेज, उनका ऑप्शन होता है कि यू रीपरचेज योर प्रेफर्ड शेयर्स एंड यू रिटायर दोज प्रेफर्ड शेयर्s. These are all the features of the preferred shares. So now let's look at the features of the common stockholders or the common shares. It includes your authorized issues and outstanding shares. Now when we talk about the authorized shares, it is basically those number of shares which companies authorized by the Security and Exchange Commission or any other regulatory authority to issue such certain number of shares, that the company is allowed to issue that certain number of shares. That is your authorized capital or authorized shares. When we talk about the issued shares, that is, or the issued capital, that is the amount of shares to be issued. That means कि आपके अभी issue करने हैं, and the outstanding shares are those which are still remaining. Then we have a par value and the book value and the market value. When we talk about the book value, that is the basic face value of the stock. For example, the common stock, the value at which the common stock is being issued, or the opening price of your shares, is basically your par value. When we talk about the book value is your basically that value which is being written in the books. That which the bond, basically it is most of the time your book value and the par value is equal. That means the book value is the value at which your bond is being issued. Then we talk about the market value. The market value is never equal to your book or par value. It is basically that value at which the share is common share is being traded in the market at certain price, that certain price is your market value. A market value per share or the market price per share भी इसे कहते हैं. Then we have certain rights of common shareholders. These rights includes the right to income. Definitely your common shareholders are the owners of the company. They are the actual owners of the company, and they are going to have they are going to have some of their portion in the earnings of the company. So company is earning, whatever company is earning, whatever company is having a profit or income, that is to be distributed to your common shareholders. So common shareholders have the right on the income, that whatever company is going to pay off as dividend, it will be the part of the income of the shareholders, and the company has the requirement of increasing the shareholders wealth or the shareholders income. So rights to income में आपकी सबसे पहली चीज ही आ जाती है कि आपके जो common shareholders specifically होते हैं, they get the residual income. They do not have any specific income which is being paid off to them as a certain amount. ऐसा नहीं है कि उनको कोई एक सर्टन अमाउंट ऑफ इनकम डायरेक्ट दे दी गई है, ऐसा नहीं होता. होता ये है कि आपकी जितनी भी नेट इनकम ओवरऑल आएगी, और दैट ऑपरेटिंग इनकम, दैट आउट ऑफ दैट ऑपरेटिंग इनकम द कंपनी इज गोइंग टू पे ऑफ दैट इट्स इंटरेस्ट एक्सपेंसेस, दैट इज इट इज गोइंग टू गिव इट्स रिटर्न टू इट्स debt holders, its bond holders. After that, company is going to pay its taxes. After taxes, the net income after tax is basically that income which is being earned by the company as a profit. Out of that net income after tax, the company is going to have certain amount set aside for its retained earning, or reinvest into the company, or invest into new funds, or into new projects, or fund new projects. That retained earning, after it, the amount remain after retaining your earnings is the income that is to be given to your shareholders. Out of that income, first amount is given to your preferred shareholders, because they are preferred over your common shareholders. So they certain percentage, that fixed percentage, will be given to your preferred shareholders. After paying every amount to your preferred shareholders as dividend, the remaining amount of income is the residual income that is to be given to your common shareholders, and that is the right of your common shareholders. Then we talk about the voting rights. Now, common shareholders does have a voting right, and it is a very stronger, strong kind of an option or the feature with the common shareholders, that they do have the voice in the management. That they do have voice in management. That is, they do have a voting right. Now, there are two different types of options of voting right. The first one is to the number of shares is equals to number of votes. That means one share is equals to one vote. If you have to elect 10 directors, that means you are going to have 10, that means and you have 100 shares, that means you have 100 shares for each of the 10 to elect 10 directors. Now, there is another way of cumulative voting, that means where you will have the right to elect directors with number of shares and total number of years. That it means it's up to the common shareholders whether to multiply and divide those number of shares into the number of directors to be elected. For example, अगर आप के पास 9 आपने directors लेने और 100 shares हैं, तो that means you are going to have 900 votes. That depends on you, whatever voting number of votes you give to your director 1, director 2, or director 9. Then we have the right to repurchase. In case of common shareholders, again the right to repurchase is basically the retirement, that is the call provision, that the common shareholders can be called back, and most of the time it is the case when the company is thinking of winding up the company, or it is thinking of going from public to private company. So most of the time in that case the company is going to repurchase its common shareholders, common shares. Then we have the dual class common stock. We have two different types of classes in common stock. The first one is your class A and class B. Now, class B has weaker voting rights, or sometimes do not have any voting rights, and class A has certain voting rights. They definitely have a voting rights, and this class B is stronger. Now, your class A is basically is only going to have very minimum amount of, or very specified voting rights to have a voice in management, while your class B is going to have a very stronger way of having a voting rights. Now, this is all about your last lecture about the features of preferred and common shareholders. We'll be moving on to the today's lecture, that is your working capital management. Let's have a overview of your what we are going to study in our working capital management chapter. The first thing we are going to study is what is a working capital and what are basic concepts of the working capital. We are going to look at the working capital issues. We are going to look at the financing current assets, short term and long term mix, and combining the liability structure and current assets DCN, that what will be the effect of those liability on the current assets DCN. Now let's look at the working capital concepts, and before that we must know that what we are going to study in, whether we are studying in financing or investing. So we discussed that in our last lecture as well, that we have three different major decisions, which includes your financing decision, your investing decision, and your asset management decision. Now your asset management decision basically includes, now we have three major decisions. These three decisions have certain levels. For example, these three decisions में हमारे एक asset management आ जाता है, we have financing, and the third decision we have is investing. Now we have been studying about the financing decision. Now let's move to the investing decision. Your investing decisions basically include investment in your or financing your current assets or fixed assets. So when we talk about the investment in current assets or fixed assets, we are basically talking about the working capital management or the management of your assets. So अब देखते हैं कि investment in current assets and fixed assets में क्या चीज़ आती है, कि क्या investing इसमें होनी चाहिए है. Now whenever we talk about the current assets or the fixed asset, it basically deals with the working capital. Now what is working capital? So your working capital is basically your capital required for day-to-day operations. So the capital that is required for completing your day-to-day operations, or we can say that in an emergency cases, or the cash or the capital that is being needed on urgent basis. तो कोई और certain urgent payments करनी हो, तो इस किस्म की कोई भी आपकी जो भी requirements होती हैं, वो सब की सब capital requirements जितनी भी होती हैं, they are under the working capital, and we have to manage those working capital within a firm. Now of the work, we know what is a working capital. There are basically two major questions that are, whenever we talk about the working capital management, two major questions that have to be answered. The first one is that what are the amount of current assets to be held, or the current assets to be held in the company. And second question is what is the individual level of those assets. For example, what is the level of your current assets, and what is the level of your fixed assets, and what is the level of the different current assets. For example, what is the level of cash, accounts receivable, your inventory, your accounts your marketable securities, what is their level. So and how do we have to manage that. So whenever we take a decision of investment specifically in assets, we have to decide, and we must know that how much is to go in the current assets and how much to go in the fixed assets. Now when we talk about the working capital management, we basically have two different types of working capital. The first one is your net working capital, that is the difference between your current assets and liabilities, and we have the gross working capital, that is the firm's investment in the current assets. We look at this thing, that what amount of investment is needed in your working capital. Or in your current assets. Now current assets are basically those assets which are easily convertible to cash. They are your liquid assets, and the advantage they give is they increase the liquidity of the company and increase the credit and improve the credit rating of the agency. And there are other type of assets which are your fixed assets. They are basically your assets which are fixed and which are illiquid assets, and most of the time they are called the permanent assets. Advantage of those fixed assets is that they help in improving your profitability and reducing the risk, but it does not provide a liquidity position, or is not very easily convertible to cash. Now working capital management has your net working capital and gross working capital, and then we have the working capital management. What is working capital management? It is basically the management or the administration of the firm's current assets and the financing need to support the current assets. That means that how much current assets and how do we have to manage them, and what are the different financing needs of supporting those current assets. What is the need to be to make a certain level of significant level of your current assets, maintain that level. Now let's have a significance of working capital management. In a typical manufacturing firm, current assets exceed 1/2 of the total assets. That means कि total assets का जो 1/2 है उससे वो तो आपके होते हैं working capital में. That means 3/4 of your assets is current assets. So excessive level can result in a substandard return on investment. Definitely, when your when your total assets are increasing, your return on investment will decrease. Now the current liabilities are the principal source of external financing for small firms and requires the continuous day-to-day managerial supervision. It does require this. Now the working capital management affects the company's risk, return and the share price, everything it is, क्योंकि working capital management का directly affect on the long-term things. Okay, within working capital management we have a cash conversion cycle, because when we talk about the current assets, our basic levels of current assets are our cash, our accounts receivable, our inventory, our marketable securities and few other type of current assets. Now when we talk about the cash, we have one thing, that is cash conversion cycle. It is important to understand what is the cash conversion cycle and your operating cycle. Now the cash conversion cycle is basically the amount of time period a company's resources are tied up in the current assets. That means वो time period जिसमें आपके current assets के आपके जितने भी resources हैं वो current assets में tied up होंगे. Now the formula for your cash conversion cycle is cash conversion cycle is equals to average age of inventory, that is AAI, plus average collection period minus, that is your ACP, minus your average payment period. That is your APP. So your cash conversion cycle is your average age of inventory plus average collection period minus your average payment period. Now when we talk about the average age of inventory, it is basically your 365 divided by your average inventory turnover. Then we have ACP, that is your average collection period. That means your 365 over your account receivable turnover. And when we talk about the average payment period, it is basically your 365 divided by accounts payable turnover. So these are basic formula for your cash conversion cycle. Now let's have a brief question about the cash conversion cycle. Now let's consider a company that has AAI, that is your average age of inventory of 60 days, average collection period of 40 days and average payment period of 30 days. Now calculate operating cycle and cash conversion cycle. Now let's look at what is your operating cycle and what is your cash conversion cycle. Now we have this thing. Now let's suppose this is your operating cycle. Overall is your operating cycle. This operating cycle mein this is your raw material. इस time period में your sell those goods. This is form goods. Sell those goods and collect receivables. Now collect receivables, that means purchasing the raw material, converting it into the operations and forming the goods, finished goods, then selling those finished goods and collecting the receivables. Now this complete cycle is your operating cycle. It might have your 60 days of average age of inventory, and then you have 40 more days of average collection period. Now so your operating cycle is basically, your operating cycle is equal to average age of inventory plus your average collection period. That means 60 days plus 40 days is equals to 100 days is your operating cycle. Now when we talk about the cash conversion cycle, it is basically your average age of inventory plus your average collection period minus your average payment period. So average age of inventory is 60 plus your average collection period is 40 days minus 30 days. That means 100 minus 30, that would be equal to 70 days. So your cash conveyance cycle is basically your 70 days. Now cash conveyance cycle banti kaise? Now if you look at this thing, your cash conveyance cycle is basically purchasing the raw material, converting raw material conversion to your finished goods. Now selling those finished goods. After selling those finished goods, you have your you sell and you form a accounts receivable. Now you collecting your receivables. यहाँ पे आप क्या कर रहे होते हो? Accounts payable बना रहे होते हो. Collecting receivables and making payments. So your cash conversion cycle, this is your cash conversion cycle, that is starting from purchasing your raw material to converting that raw material into finished goods, then selling those finished goods and creating an accounts receivable, then collecting the account receivable. So ये आपका complete account receivable collection हो गई है. Collecting those account receivable and then making those getting the cash from your account receivable and making that payment to your creditors. That completes your cash conversion cycle, जिसके अंदर आप cash को convert करके उसको complete payment भी करते हो. That is your cash conversion cycle. Now that is about your cash conversion cycle. Let's move to the next topic of working capital policies. Now when we talk about the working capital policies, we have three major different types of working policies. The first one is your relaxed working capital policy, moderate working capital policy, and aggressive or restricted working capital policy. Now relaxed working capital, according to the relaxed working capital policy, we can say that it is policy A. It has huge amount of current assets, but it has a very low risk and return. Now when we talk about the moderate working capital policy, it has a very moderate amount of current assets and a moderate risk and return. Now when we talk about the aggressive or restricted working capital policy, it has very few amount of current assets but have very high risk and return. Now the next topic we have is your working capital issue. There are certain issues which in the working capital which has to be considered regarding your profitability, the liquidity of the firm, and the risk that is inherent due to your working capital management or due to current assets level. Now when we talk about the optimal level of current assets, it is very important to consider two important things while considering the profitability, risk and liquidity. The first thing is what is the optimal level of investment in the current assets, that is कि कितना ज़्यादा amount आपको current assets में invest करनी है. Secondly, आपकी दूसरी चीज़ ये है कि आपने कि what is the type of financing mix, what will be the best financing mix of short term and long term financing for your for managing your working capital or managing your current assets or the fixed assets. These are the two important things which are to be answered. तो पहले हम ये देख लेते हैं कि current assets का level किस तरह से manage करना है, then we'll move on to the thing कि कितना ज़्यादा fixed assets and current assets के short term financing या long term financing से effect आता है. Now, when we talk about the level of current assets to manage, we talk about the optimal amount or the level of current assets. Now, if you look at the graph that has been made on the right hand side, if you look at this thing, we have output, that is the fifth output of your units. That means your the number of finished goods or the products that is to be sold out to the general public, now to your customers. So we have on x-axis we have output or units, and we on y-axis we have asset levels, that what is the total amount of assets we must have. Now we have three different policies. We have just discussed three different policies of relaxed policies, moderate policy and restricted policy. Now let's suppose we have policy A, B and C of these three. Let's see किस तरह से वो आपके current level के मुताबिक चलता है. Now if you look at this thing, so you have these current these output level, let's suppose 50,000 maximum units of production बन सकते हैं, और हमारे 25,000 units पे जब हम पहुंचे हम तब देखते हैं कि हमारी different policies के साथ किस तरह से, और ये it's a continuous production. Now we have three different policies for current assets level for current assets level and they are possible. For example, आपकी current assets 25,000 units पे थी. Now जिस तरह से हमारा output increase हो रहा है, हमारे current assets का level भी increase होता जाएगा. Now let's suppose if it's starting from zero, तो जिस तरह हम input increase करें, आपका current assets का level, आपकी current assets का level भी ऊपर की तरफ increase हो रहा है. तो जिस तरह ऐसा ही increase हो रहा है, इसी तरह इस तरह से भी increase किया जा रहा है. Now if we talk about policy A में आपके 25,000 यूनिट्स के ऊपर आपकी करंट एसेट्स सबसे ज्यादा है. पॉलिसी बी के लिए आपके मॉडरेट करंट एसेट्स हैं और फॉर पॉलिसी सी योर एसेट लेवल इज डिक्रीजिंग एज योर इज नॉट वेरी इंक्रीजिंग, इट इज इंक्रीजिंग बट नॉट ऑन एंड हैव अ वेरी कंटीन्यूअस प्रोडक्शन बट नॉट ऑन अ कंटीन्यूअस लेवल एज compared to your policy B and A. It has less number of current assets. So your fewer current assets shows your restricted or aggressive policy, that is policy C, and your relaxed policy is policy A. Now let's move on to your next one, that is, let's look at the impact of liquidity on this with the different level of your current assets. Now with the increase in the output, your number of assets are increasing. Now when we talk about policy C में अगर आप देखें तो आपके current assets का level decrease है as compared to बाकी दोनों. तो अगर current assets का level decrease होगा तो that means you do not have liquid assets, you do not have enough liquid assets to pay off your current obligations. That means your liquidity position is weak. So as in comparison to your policy C, your liquidity position is weak क्योंकि आपके current assets का level decrease है. Now the greater the current assets level generate more liquidity, all other factors, if all other factors are held constant, तो जितना ज़्यादा आपके current assets का level होगा उतनी ज़्यादा आपकी liquidity increase होगी. Now अगर आप policy B को देखें तो हमारे थोड़े से current assets, हमारे जिस तरह से outputs increase हुए तो हमारा current assets का level भी increase हुआ है. That is your moderate policy, जिसके अंदर you have very moderate level of risk and return and you have a moderate level of your current assets. Now if we talk about policy A, it has a very high level of liquidity because it has a very high level of current assets. So आपके जितने ज़्यादा current assets होंगे उतना ज़्यादा liquidity position strong होगी और जब liquidity position strong होगी तो automatically you will move on to your policy A, that is your relaxed policy. And your risk and return, but there will be an effect on the risk and return that you will have a low risk and low return. And the impact of profitability on the optimal level of your current assets with the optimal level of your current assets. Now as we define your profitability, or we find out the profitability using the ratio of return on assets, return on equity, and net profit margin. Now when we are specifically talking about the assets here, so we are going to consider return on assets or return on investment. So your return on assets or your return on investment has a formula for of net profit over total assets, where your let's suppose your current assets include your cash, your receivables and your inventory, and your return on asset would be a net profit over current plus fixed assets. किस तरह से होता है, क्योंकि आपके total assets में क्या उनसे होता है, आपके current assets and your fixed assets. So when we talk about total assets, तो इसका मतलब है कि net profit divided by your current plus fixed assets हो जाएंगे. जिस तरह आपके current level का current assets का level increase होगा तो आपकी return on investment कम हो जाएगी. Now for example, let's look at this thing. We have, for example, we have return on asset 1, जिसके अंदर हमारे current assets का ये हम इसको suppose कर लेते हैं, this is your 1, this is your 2 and this is your 3. Now let's suppose आपके current assets का level जो है वो बहुत कम है. So your profit is 100 divided by your current assets, let's suppose 2. इनको 1000 की उसमें ले ले. Let's suppose 100,000 and 2,000 is your current assets. Now जी 100 divided by 2 is 50. That means you have 50 rupees as your return on asset, as your profit. Now ये जिस तरह से आपके current asset decrease है, now let's improve the current assets, increase कर देते हैं उसको, the moderate level पे ले जाते हैं, and let's say you have your current assets of increase to 100 over 5. You have the level of current assets as 5. So that will decrease your profitability. Your profitability will be 20. That means your return on assets is equals to net profit over 5. आपका net profit यहाँ पे हम consider करते हैं कि net profit is equal to 100. Your assets is equals to 2, 5 and 10. ये हमने consider किया. Now let's look at the third type, that is return on assets is equals to net profit over your current assets plus fixed assets. तो आपके total assets जो है that has increased to 10 और अब आपका जो answer आएगा that is 10. इसका मतलब है कि जिस तरह आपके करंट एसेट्स इंक्रीज होते जाते हैं उतना ज्यादा आपकी प्रॉफिटेबिलिटी इफेक्ट आती है। अब इसका रीजन क्या है? लेट्स सपोज मेरे पास करंट एसेट्स आए थे, पहले जितने करंट एसेट्स थे, मुझे करंट एसेट्स को मैनेज करने के लिए मेरी कुछ और एक्स्ट्रा कॉस्ट लगी है, प्लस मुझे करंट एसेट्स में मैंने कुछ एक्स्ट्रा इन्वेस्टमेंट की है। मुझे एक्स्ट्रा इन्वेस्टमेंट की है, दैट इज योर कॉस्ट, योर एक्सपेंस, योर कैश आउटफ्लो। सो वो, और मैंने उनको मैनेज करने के लिए भी उसके ऊपर कुछ कॉस्ट इनकर हुई है। वो कॉस्ट जो मैनेज करने पे इनकर हुई है और वो कॉस्ट जो कि आपके इनके ऊपर इन्वेस्टमेंट हुई है, वो सब ऐड करके जब आप अपने ऑपरेटिंग एक्सपेंस में डालेंगे और ऑपरेटिंग एक्सपेंस में से माइनस करके आपके पास जो प्रॉफिट आएगा, तो इसका मतलब आपके पास ओवरऑल प्रॉफिट कम आएगा, क्योंकि आपकी इन्वेस्टमेंट ऑलरेडी, आपकी कॉस्ट इंक्रीज होगी। सो जिस तरह आपके करंट एसेट्स का लेवल इंक्रीज होता है उस तरह से आपकी प्रॉफिटेबिलिटी डिक्रीज होती है। जैसे आप देख सकते हैं कि पॉलिसी सी में करंट एसेट्स लेस है तो आपका प्रॉफिटेबिलिटी जो है वो ज्यादा है। जब आपके करंट एसेट्स पॉलिसी ए में बहुत ज्यादा हो गए तो आपके ऑटोमेटिकली योर level has decreased from current assets to your profitability level has decreased because due to your increase in your current assets. Now let's move on to the impact of profitability और पूरा देखते हैं कि किस तरह से. Now as the current assets level decline, total assets will decline and the return on assets will rise definitely. तो आपके जिस तरह आप डिक्लाइन करते रहोगे अपने करंट एसेट्स को, आपके लेवल ऑफ प्रॉफिटेबिलिटी विल इंक्रीज. सो योर अकॉर्डिंग टू द पॉलिसी ए, that is your relaxed policy, your profitability will be low because the number of current assets will be increased. And for policy B that has a moderate number of current assets will have a average profitability. Now when we talk about policy C, we have a high level of profitability because your level of current assets is very few. You have very few current assets and you have a very less cost to be incurred on its management or its improvement or increase in the current assets. So as we increase the current assets level, the profitability decreases. Now let's have an impact on the risk. Risk के ऊपर उसका कितना ज़्यादा impact आता है. Now let's look at the optimal level of current assets. Now decreasing, when we decrease the cash, that reduces the firm's ability to meet its financial. Now देखें, अगर जिस तरह आपके current assets decrease होते जाएंगे, कम होते जाएंगे, इसका मतलब है कि आपके current assets कम हो तो आपकी liquidity कम हो रही है, liquidity कम हो रही है तो आपका रिस्क इंक्रीज हो रहा है. Now there is a stricter credit policies reduce the receivable. Definitely आपकी जितनी ज्यादा क्रेडिट पॉलिसी स्ट्रांग होती है तो इसका मतलब है आपके रिसीवेबल ज्यादा से ज्यादा जल्दी आने चाहिए. जब रिड्यूस्ड रिसीवेबल्स, क्योंकि आपके डेफिनेटली व्हेन यू हैव अ स्ट्रिक्ट पॉलिसी, नो वन इज गोइंग टू गिव यू, नो वन इज गोइंग टू get your products on receivable basis. They are going to have it more on a cash basis because you have a very strict receivable policy and possibly lose sales and customers. Definitely you are going to lose your sales and customers, so the risk is involved. Now we have a lower, there is another way of lower inventory levels. Let's suppose हम अपनी inventory level decrease करते हैं, that means we are decreasing our current assets. That means increase in stock outs and cost level, lost sales, the more there will be a risk. So आपके जिस तरह से भी आपके overall current assets के ऊपर effect आता है, that will affect your decrease or increase in risk. Now let's look at the different levels. Risk increases as the level of current assets are reduced. तो जितने current assets आपके कम होते हैं उतना ज़्यादा आपके रिस्क जो है वो इंक्रीज हो जाता है. दैट मीन्स कि आपके करंट एसेट्स जितने ज्यादा डिक्रीज हो रहे हैं, रिस्क इंक्रीजेस एज द लेवल ऑफ करंट एसेट्स आर रिड्यूस. तो नंबर ऑफ करंट एसेट्स कम होंगे तो इसका मतलब आपकी लिक्विडिटी कम है. जब लिक्विडिटी कम है तो क्रेडिट पॉलिसी, आपकी जो क्रेडिट रेटिंग है वो डिक्रीज होगी. जब क्रेडिट रेटिंग डिक्रीज होगी तो रिस्क विल बी इंक्रीजिंग. सो द कंपनी विद अ रिस्ट्रिक्टेड करंट credit policy will have a less risk and will because it will have a higher level of current assets. तो current assets increase होंगे तो आपकी level of risk जो है वो कम हो जाएगा. Similarly when you have a policy C that is a strict one, you'll have a high level of your risk. Now let's look at the summary of the optimal amount of current assets. Now profitability varies inversely with the liquidity. That means कि जिस तरह profitability increase हो रही है आपकी liquidity decrease होगी and the profitability moves together with the risk and always your risk and return go hand in hand. तो जिस तरह आपकी profitability increase हो रही है आपका risk भी, that means high risk high return. Now let's look at the classification of the working capital. We have different components of the working capital which include your cash, marketable securities, receivable and inventories. We have different types of for your classification of working capital, that is your permanent and temporary. Now let's look at different working capitals with different time periods. जिस तरह से time increase या जिस तरह का different time होता है उस accordingly आपके working capital की management और उसकी financing थोड़ी सी different हो जाती है. Now the permanent working capital, we have permanent and temporary working capital depending upon the time it has. So the permanent working capital defines the amount of current assets required to meet a firm's long-term minimum needs. तो long-term minimum needs जो कि long-term time period के लिए हमें कुछ amount of current assets ऐसे manage करना है कि long-term time period के लिए minimum needs जो है वो उनकी पूरी होती रहे. So that will be, let's draw it on a graph. The graph is like we have time on our x-axis and we have our dollar amount, or we can say rupee amount, on our y-axis. So if you look at the y-axis, we have dollar amount on the y-axis and we have time on x-axis. Now if we draw the permanent, for example, this is certain level of current assets which has to be managed, so it would be, and it will increase slightly over the time period. So this overall level with increase in the time period. So as we have increase in the our time increases, there will be a bit greater need every time or every year or every month from the previous one. तो पिछले से थोड़ा सा ज़्यादा amount आएगी, and this is our permanent. This is our permanent working capital. So yeah, we can say the permanent asset requirement. So this is our permanent asset level for the working capital. So permanent assets level है कि ये एक ऐसा certain assets है जैसे कि for example cash की एक certain form है जो कि होनी चाहिए, ठीक है, आपके पास permanent कोई minimum level आपके of requirements जो होती हैं उनको पूरा करें. Account receivable का इतना या inventory में इतनी amount होनी चाहिए, they are your permanent asset level जो कि एक certain level पे maintain रहते हैं. Now when we talk about the temporary working capital, it is basically the amount of current assets that varies with the seasonal requirements. तो जिस तरह से season change होता है accordingly आपकी कुछ current assets की requirement accordingly आती है. Let's have a graph for this. Again we have time on x-axis and we have a dollar amount on y-axis. Now इसमें हमने एक तो हमारे पे एक permanent level हमने define किया जी, this is your permanent current assets level. Fine. अब ये परमानेंट करंट एसेट्स का, इसके अलावा हमारे पास इससे जितनी भी एक्स्ट्रा अमाउंट, फॉर एग्जांपल कि कोई भी हमारे पास एक सर्टेन लेवल आ जाता है, कोई सर्टेन अर्जेंसी है या कोई ऐसी रिक्वायरमेंट है जिसके अंदर वी हैव टू मेक द पेमेंट, या देयर इज फॉर एग्जांपल देयर इज सम डिस्क्रिपेंसीज इन द ऑपरेशंस, या देयर इज सम इमरजेंसी इन द ऑपरेशंस जहां पे कहीं ना कहीं कोई प्रॉब्लम आ गई थी जिसकी वजह से वी नीड टू परचेज समथिंग न्यू और वी हैव टू इनकर अ कॉस्ट. तो उसके लिए हम क्या करते हैं, या हमें कोई ऐसे सर्टेन एसेट्स चाहिए जो कि या उन इस सर्टेन लेवल्स को मैनेज करने के लिए हमें कुछ ऐसे कैश चाहिए, एसेट चाहिए. फॉर एग्जांपल हमें कैश चाहिए, वो जो एक्स्ट्रा लेवल ऑफ परमानेंट लेवल ऑफ करंट एसेट से एक्स्ट्रा अमाउंट हम लाते हैं वो आपकी टेम्पररी वर्किंग कैपिटल होता है कि वो कभी होता है किसी सीजन में किसी में नहीं. जिस तरह टाइम इंक्रीज करता है डिपेंडिंग ऑन टाइम, वो कभी इंक्रीज और कभी डिक्रीज, कभी वो हमारे पास होता है और कभी नहीं होता. तो वो जो इंक्रीज और डिक्रीज इन द लेवल ऑफ योर एसेट्स आएगा, दिस इज योर करंट एसेट्स के लेवल में इंक्रीज या डिक्रीज आएगा विद अमाउंट जो भी इंक्रीज या डिक्रीज आ रहा है ओवर द टाइम पीरियड इज योर टेम्पररी करंट एसेट्स. So this is your temporary current assets जो कि with time आपके increase या decrease time के साथ जिस तरह वो increase या decrease होते जाते हैं. Now let's look at the financing current assets, your short term and long term. मैंने आपसे कहा कि हम दो मेजर चीजें देखेंगे. The first thing we are going to look at the optimal level of current assets जो हमने देख लिया कि profitability, liquidity and risk के ऊपर इनका क्या effect आता है. And the second thing we will be focusing is on the short term and long term mix. कितना ज्यादा long term financing और कितनी ज्यादा short term financing for your current assets चाहिए होती है. Now if you look at the spontaneous financing, the trade, credit and other payables and accruals that arise spontaneously in the firm's day to day ऑपरेशन, फॉर एग्जांपल कोई ट्रेड क्रेडिट है, वहाँ कुछ पेमेंट करनी है, या कोई लेवल हमारे पास वापस आ गए, कुछ हमारे पास अकाउंट रिसीवेबल इंक्रीज हुए वो डाल देने, अदर कुछ पेबल्स, कुछ एक्रूअल्स, कुछ टैक्सेस, कुछ और बिलिंग, कुछ बिल्स, कुछ इस तरह की चीजें आ गई हैं जो कि हमें ऑन स्पॉट पे करने ही करने हैं, तो वो हमारे डे टू डे ऑपरेशंस के लिए spontaneously on the day to day operation. How we are going to manage that, we have to look into this matter. Now, based on the policies regarding the payment for purchases, labor, taxes and other expenses, it depends on the payment for purchases. Now we are concerned with managing non-spontaneous financing of assets. and spontaneous तो हमें पता है, लेकिन non-spontaneous जो कभी आ जाते हैं, कभी एकदम नहीं आते, कभी एकदम से ही आ जाते हैं, तो यहाँ permanent levels पे non-spontaneous financing of assets को किस तरह से कैसे करते हैं. Now, in order to manage your short-term and long-term financing mix, we have to have one approach, that is your hedging approach, or we say it's a maturity matching approach. Now, it is one of the method of financing where each asset would be offset with the financing instrument of the same approximate maturity, कि जितनी उसकी maturity है उस asset की उतनी certain other financing instrument की होती है, और फिर हम देखते हैं कि क्या financing instrument में से कौन सा हमारा कितना level हम लोगों को बताता है. Now, if we draw it on the graph, we have time on x-axis and we have the dollar amount on the y-axis. Now we have certain level of fixed assets जिनमें थोड़ा सा increase over the time आ सकता है, and we have certain level of permanent assets. ये हमारे वो fixed assets हैं, fixed assets का level है, और ये हमारे करंट एसेट्स हैं जो कि परमानेंट करंट एसेट्स हो सकते हैं, वी कैन से द परमानेंट वन. और हमारे पास कुछ सीजनल फाइनेंसिंग की जरूरत होती है जिसमें हम आपके सीजनल करंट एसेट्स होते हैं. So we have an option of long-term and short-term financing. Now, whenever we talk about the long-term financing, your long-term financing would be for your current those assets which are for the long-term time period, and they are going to give you profit for the long-term time period. They are going to be involved and contribute in the profitability or the earnings of the company for a very long time period of time. So your permanent current assets and your fixed assets will be financed through your long-term financing, because it would be for the long-term time period, so definitely it would require a long-term financing. And our seasonal, all current assets level or all the extra working capital needs that are seasonal, that means कि किसी season में increase, decrease आ रहा है, कभी चाहिए, कभी नहीं चाहिए, that is the level which will be financed through your short-term financing. So it would be with the short-term financing. So your seasonal requirements will be from the short-term financing, and all your permanent and fixed assets will be from your long-term financing. Now, if you look at the financing needs and the hedging approach, the fixed assets and the non-seasonal portion of your current assets, that is the permanent one, are financed with the long-term debt and equity. That means your long-term profitability of assets to cover the long-term financing cost of the firm. Now, the seasonal needs are financed with your short-term loans. Under normal operations, sufficient cash flow is expected to cover the short-term financing cost. Now, self-liquidating nature of your short-term loans वो किस तरह से होता है? Now, seasonal orders require the purchase of inventory beyond the current level. जो अभी एक level होता है उससे जरा seasonal orders definitely वो increase या decrease करवाता है आपके current assets के level को. Now, increase in inventory is used to meet the increased demand for the project, for the final product, and sales becomes your receivables. Now, receivables are collected and become cash. आप क्या करते हो कि एक inventory अपनी requirement होती है, जैसे inventory में आपके increase किया, inventory का increase हुआ तो उसके बाद you have a demand for your final product, उससे आपके sales जो है वो receivables में convert हुए, receivables से cash में convert हुए, and then the resulting cash funds can be used to pay off the seasonal short-term loan. तो वो जो seasonal short-term loan because of the increase in the seasonal जो requirement थी उसकी वजह से current assets का level जो increase हुआ था और आपकी liability increase हुई थी, उससे आपने क्या किया, inventory generate से आपके profit sales हुए, sales के बाद receivables, उससे receivable क्या collect हुए, and then you are going to pay off your short-term seasonal short-term loan and cover associated long-term financing cost as well. Now we have some risk versus cost trade-off, one of the conservative approach that tells that long-term financing benefits किस तरह से कि less worry in refinancing short-term obligation. Definitely you will be having long-term financing, तो बार-बार finance करने की जरूरत नहीं पड़ेगी, and less uncertainty regarding future interest cost. कोई बार-बार increase in cost और decrease in cost आता रहे तो वो improve वो हमें उससे बचाता है. Now short-term financing के risk क्या है कि borrowing more than what is necessary and borrowing at a higher overall cost. The result is that the manager expects the less expected profit in exchange of taking less risk. Now, when we compare it with an aggressive approach, it is a short-term financing benefits, financing long-term needs with a low interest cost than short-term debt. So, and you're borrowing only when what is necessary. सिर्फ जो चीज़ें ज़रूरत है वो हमने उनकी ज़रूरत हुई. This is an aggressive approach. Now, short-term financing risk इसमें क्या है? Refinancing short-term obligations in the future. And if you don't have enough finance, that means you cannot refinance that in the future. And uncertain future interest cost, definitely the interest can increase or decrease whenever you are again and again spending in current assets. So manager accepts greater expected profits in exchange of taking greater risk. जितना ज़्यादा risk उतना ज़्यादा return. Now let's look at the summary of the short term versus long term financing. अगर हम ये देखें कि हमारे पास ये जो short term and long term लिखा, this is your financing maturity, and we have asset maturity with temporary and permanent. Now those assets which are temporary and will require the short term financing has a moderate risk and profitability, and those assets which are for temporary seasonal assets will have have low risk and profitability with the long-term financing. Now, the long-term permanent assets, those assets which are for a very long-term time period, they will have and if they are being financed from the short-term financing, they'll have a high risk and profitability. And if we talk about the long-term financing and for a very long-term time period of your permanent assets, we have a moderate risk and profitability. Now, if we combine the liability structure and current decisions, we will be looking at the level of current assets and the method of financing those assets are interdependent. Definitely, आप जिस तरह से उनके levels को और उनकी financing के methods को देखते हो, that is interdependent. Now, a conservative policy of high levels of current assets allows more aggressive method of financing current assets. So, your conservative policy of high levels of current assets allows more aggressive policy. That means कि आप more aggressive method of financing करें. Conservative policy है जिसमें high levels of current assets आपने करने हैं, उसके लिए aggressive approach चाहिए होगी. And a conservative method of financing, जिसमें conservative method of financing allows an aggressive policy. तो आपकी जब भी conservative methods आपने use करने हैं तो you'll have an aggressive policy, और जब आपके पास conservative policy है तो you need your aggressive method. That is the low levels of current assets. Now that was all about your working capital management. Let's move to your summarizing your whole lecture of today. Well, we talked about the working capital management. We first talk about what is working capital. Working capital is basically your that capital which is needed or required on for the day-to-day operation, for completing your day-to-day operations. It may be from your short-term or long-term financing. Then we talked about different working capital management. Then we said there are two major questions to be answered, that what is the optimal level of your current assets and how you are going to finance, and what will be the best mix of your short-term and long-term financing for your current assets. Then we talked about our working capital policies. Your working capital policies basically have three different policies. Your relaxed policy that have very huge amount of current assets but low risk and but high risk and high return. Then you have a very low level of it has low risk and low return. And when we talk about the moderate working capital policy, it has moderate level of current assets and moderate risk and return. And there is a restricted or aggressive policy that has very low level of current assets but has a very high risk and high return. Then we talked about the cash conversion cycle, which is the time period in which your current assets will be converted into cash. So the time period in which your current your finance or your profits or your earnings are tied up into the current assets. This is your cash conversion cycle. That includes your average age of inventory plus average collection period minus your average payment period. Then we have the working capital issues. We discussed different three issues regarding your profitability, risk and your liquidity. That includes that whenever we increase the level of, we have three different policies, and whenever we increase the level of current assets, our liquidity increases but our risk and profitability decreases. When we have moderate level of policy B, that is moderate level of your current assets, you'll have a moderate level of your risk and return, and your liquidity will be moderate. But when you decrease the level of current assets, your policy defines that there will be less risk, there will be high risk and high return but less liquidity. And now then we talked about the impact of risk and return. That was simple. And then we talked about the permanent and temporary working capital. Now that defines that permanent working capital is the amount of capital, that amount of working capital, amount of current assets that are needed on for a very long term time period and on a permanent basis. इतना level जो है वो maintain होना चाहिए. इसके अलावा जो additional improvement या increase in current assets होगा, that is your seasonal or temporary working capital. Then we also looked at the hedging approach, that as we increase the level of your current assets, तो जिस तरह से आपकी जितने भी permanent and your permanent current assets and your fixed assets are basically financed by your long-term financing, and all your temporary financing is being financed by your all your temporary needs of your current assets is financed by your short-term financing. Now that and then we talked about a bit of the benefits of the current and your conservative and aggressive approach. Now that was all about your working capital topic and your today's lecture. We'll be moving on to working with the Excel sheets and few other topics for your last lecture, to include that and to understand that completely, the requirement of your work, your Excel sheet in finance. We'll be moving on to that lecture, that topic in the next lecture. Thank you.